we're doing Emerson back for the second part of I don't even know what to call this. Let's just say Arsenal potential players coming. The last episode I covered the goalkeepers that we could be potentially buying. I was thinking of doing the centre backs, but since we haven't really been linked with any centre backs, I decided to skip that. And this episode I'm focusing on the holding midfielders that we could potentially be buying. As you can see, we have three holding midfielders, and then we do have Matteo Debuchy of Newcastle, who I've just added here because if you guys were wondering if we're still on the Aurier chase, it's been almost pretty much confirmed by Debuchy himself that he has agreed a deal with Arsenal and he has decided to leave Newcastle United and come to Arsenal for the 2014-2015 season. Sorry. So yeah, this episode, I'm just gonna be focusing on these three players: Schneiderlin, Martinez, and Khedira, all holding midfielders again who can potentially play besides Ramsey and let players like Ramsey, Chamberlain, Wilshere, Özil, all those players that we could potentially get in, just run free, and as they will hold that back line, they will stay in front of those back four. But yeah, for this episode, I decided to change it up. Instead of getting the stats, I would actually much rather just go through it with you so you guys can actually see it. Because I understand in my last episode, I wasn't really clear on the actual stats. So I'm going to show you it on the screen so you can see it for yourself this episode. Once again, I'm getting all my statistics from Squawka, and the link is right here. So www.squawka.com. It will also be in the link. So if you guys do have any queries, it's just there. Alright, let's get on. The first player we're going to be looking at is Morgan Schneiderlin. Obviously, he played for Newcastle. Sorry, not Newcastle, Southampton. He has played for France. As you saw in the last episode, I decided to cover every goalkeeper in their World Cup season. But there is a slight problem with that because in one of these players, they haven't really played any. Well, Schneiderlin and Martinez, they haven't really played a big part in the World Cup team, so it wouldn't be fair to put them in. So I decided to show you their just club actual performance score. So as you can see, Morgan Schneiderlin, he's at a 749 performance score. Remember, he's 24 years old. Here, his high BMI and weight and all that. He's a French national player, but he's not played for France so much, so we won't show you that. He's had 33 appearances and scored 2 goals. 2 goals, obviously, looking from these positions. Yeah, that's the position he scored. He's had a 33% shot accuracy. He's not really good. 8 and 16 on target. Sorry. He's had a pretty good he's won a lot of Squawk awards. Not really had a bad performance really, but he's created a lot of chances for his club. Only managed to pick up 1 assist. He's a player who can win headers, despite not being the tallest. He's 1.81. Is that even 6 foot? I don't think that's 6 foot. He wins a lot of his headers. He wins a lot of his duels. Besides committing fouls, is a bit reckless when it comes to that. He's a passer. Once again, he's a more upgraded version of Arteta, I'd like to call him. I'm sorry for Arteta, but his time's passed now. He can't really play for Arsenal at his top level. But yeah, he's a passer of a player. He's got a lot of yellow cards. He's disciplinary. I think that's going to be a issue. Obviously, when it comes to tackling and all of that, he's not really the cleanest. But he does do his defensive duties at managing to get an average of 4. And if you do want to look, you can see that other players who do get other statistics for his club, but we're really not focusing on that. We're just focusing on him. So yeah, it's been a pretty decent season for him, I guess you could say. 749 is his final score. Now focusing on Martinez. Oh, let's go to Khedira next. Khedira, he is a player that I've decided to put his World Cup scores because he, on the other hand, in contrast to Morgan Schneiderlin and Javi Martinez, he's been out for most of the club season, so he hasn't really played a lot. He's only played 13 games, so there's no point of me really putting that in. I decided to show you his World Cup statistics. Obviously, you can't naturally compare this to the club statistics of Schneiderlin because He's had much less time to play. I'm sorry. So you have to keep that in consideration. His club is still in it. Germany are still in the tournament, and he's missed out on one game, which is the US Germany game. But on the other games he did play. He did manage to play. Um, uh, managed to play the full 90 minutes for 2 games, and then he picked one 69 minutes and 51 minutes. That's 4 appearances. He hasn't scored a goal yet. He's created chances for his team, but he hasn't gotten any assists, and his performance is -17. as you can see here, he hasn't really had a standout performance. His attacking's remained on the positive side, but everything else has gone below that side. He's obviously not won any best man of the match awards for Squawka. He's lost a lot of those those awards. Sorry, his pass accuracy again is these players are the type he wants to he like to pass it around, and yeah, he's had a fairly decent pass accuracy. But look, this is the surprising thing for me. He is a big lad. He's 6'2", if I'm not mistaken. In contrast to Schneiderlin. Also, keep in mind that the Premier League is a much more physical league, and he's not really been able to do his aerial duties in the World Cup. He's only managed to win 2 out of 6 headers, which is shocking for me, personally, to see that. And he's had the defensive error, which hasn't led to anything, but it's just there for the showing. And he's already had he's picked up a yellow card from his tackling. He's again another reckless player when it comes to tackling. And yeah, so just do keep this in consideration if you are a fan of Kadiro, that he's not really the best disciplined person, or he is disciplined, but he's not really, he can't always keep his cool, because in 4 games to pick up a yellow card in the biggest stage in the world has to show that you have a slight issue. But then again, that's just my opinion. The final player we are going to be covering is Xavi Martinez. We were linked with him for a long time, I believe, but he's probably the most expensive player in the squad.
It's
Schneiderlin
7
valued at
o'clock.
around, you heard my computer, 7 o'clock. Schneiderlin valued at around 20 to 22 million. Kadira is around the 20, 25 million, and he's 30 to 40 million, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to show you his sorry, his Bayern Munich performance scores, because Spain have had a horrendous World Cups story, so there's no real point of me showing you his stats. He scored a 538, and this one you can directly compare to Schneiderlin, who has a 749. 33 appearances for him, 18 only for him. And keeping in mind, he's played most of his games in the centre back role, so he is very versatile or verticile. I forgot the word now. He's got a high percentage again. Created one chance. I don't think that's an assist. It wasn't an assist. He wins a lot of his headers. A good sign. And he's won a decent amount of awards for his club, but lost one as well. According to Squawka, he's had a lot of 3 yellow cards, no defensive errors from the centre back, which is a good sign, and he's averaged 5 defensive actions per in the season. Sorry, which is pretty decent. Now, to wrap it all up, the player I would want to come to Arsenal personally would be. There's pros and cons to every one of them. Schneider in the pro, he's got Premier League experience. Con, he hasn't got any Champions League experience, which would be a downside for us. Javi Martinez, he's pro is that he's a world-class player. He's a proven world-class, if not the best central defensive midfielder in the world. Con, his price tag. Kadira, pro, he is a good defender, and yeah, he's a good holding midfielder. He can do his job there. But the con is that in most of the games that I see, he just usually pushes up. I don't know if Wenger would allow that. I think Wenger would have to keep him just in front of the back four, but I think he could do his job, so I don't really think that's a big con. But yeah, these have been the 3 I would want. So again, referring to who I would personally pick, I would say it has to be between Kadira and Schneiderlin, simply because of they all fairly young. Kadira is the oldest, 27. I don't know who'd have to pick. I don't know. It would be most probably. This is a tough one actually. It would probably be Kadira. My final decision is Kadira. He's a good all-round player. So this has been the second episode. I would be making probably the final episode later on today. It would be published today for certain, straight after the defensive, the goalkeepers. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this.